Let's see how to set up a Laravel environment. You must have Composer installed in the system to install Laravel. So take a command prompt and type this command, which you can get it from the Laravel documentation. I have already installed Laravel in the system, so I am not running this one. And let's go to the drive, where we want to create the project. And I want to create family tree app. So let's type Laravel new family tree app. And now it will start creating the application. It will take nearly a minute to complete the installation. Now the installation has been completed. Let's close this command prompt window and open the Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, let's open our project directory. Syng family tree apps. Laravel has already created all the folders and the basic files required to initiate the project. We will go through each of these folders as we develop. Let's go to terminal, new terminal, and let's start the server. So for that, PHP artisan serve. So it will start the development environment on a default port of 8000. So let's go to that one. And we can see the app is up and running. See, as you can see, that Laravel is using a default IP and port for the application, but we would prefer to have a local URL. So we will set up a local URL, in fact, a virtual host in PAM server. So let's enter a virtual host name, familytreeapp.local, and we'll need to give a complete path to the project's public directory. Let's save it. The virtual host has been created. So we will need to restart the DNS, that is restart the WAMP server. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. We can end this operation because we are now serving from the virtual host. Now we need to set up a couple more things in .env file. So let's put the URL that we have created now, familytreeapp.local. And the database name, we will put family tree app, and the username, let it be root, and the password is empty. That would be fine. So let's go and create the family tree app database. Let's go to PHP myadmin and create the database. Let's give the name. Let's change it to UTF-MB84 General CI, yeah, and create. Yeah, that database has been created. See, Laravel has already created the user model and the migrations. See the migrations over here, and also the model also there. So let's create the other models and the migrations required. So PHP artisan make model family tree with migration and controller. So this is where we store our main trees. So let's create the member model. PHP artisan make model member along with the migration and the controller. So in this table, we will be keeping all the member specific details. And we will need to create a relationship table. So that is PHP artisan make model member relation. So in this table, we will keep the spouse relations basically. And artisan make model the user role. This table is specifically for the permissions of users on a specific tree. And I think these are the basic tables which we need right now. And you can see like, okay, the scripts, migration scripts are created. And so we can make the other alterations required in each of these scripts. So let's go to trees. Let's go close the terminal now. So in each of these migrations, like Laravel already create by default the ID and the timestamp columns. So ID is the primary key column, like, and so now we create a column for the name of the data for the family tree, which is a string name with a length of 300. And we basically have the timestamp fields added automatically, which is basically like the created at and updated at columns, which by default will be the current timestamp. But I would like to keep a modification over there. So I'm going to add the columns manually for the timestamp. So it's again like the same thing, created at updated at with the current timestamp, but only modification is updated at has a small change, that is on update current timestamp, so that okay, we don't have to send the updated at value whenever we are modifying the record. It will automatically update the table. In fact, update the row whenever the particular row is modified. So let's add the created by and updated by, like to know like, okay, the user who is updating the table. So let's see like what are the possible data types we can use. So in the documentation, if you come down, you can see here like, okay, what are the possible column data types we can use. For now, like I will be using unsigned big integer for the created by and updated by, because like by default the ID is using by default the user ID is using the unsigned integer. So I will be using the same data type for the created by and updated by columns. So let's take that. And let's put it over there. Let's create created by let's repeat the same with updated by. And yeah, we might need to add one more column, basically the name, and we might need a description as well. So which is a text. We don't have to give a length over there. So description. Okay. I think that's can be kept as nullable. We are not mandating that. So let's save it, and let's go to the member table. Maybe we can copy those columns like created by and updated by, created at, and all these stuff to, like, we need in all the tables these columns. So we just put those things in all the migrations. Fine. So let's get back to members. Let's copy that name, which we want for the members as well. And let's add other columns. That might be a zip code. Let's do add a address and date of birth, which is a date string. In fact, a date type. We don't need a length. And we will need a date of death as well. It's also a date column. And what else? We will need a picture definitely. I think these are good enough for the individual details. So let's keep the hierarchy information. So which is, let's go to family trees. So we need to mention, like, okay, the member is belonging to this particular family tree. So, sorry. So let's keep a foreign ID for family tree ID. So you have to follow the naming convention. So like then only the family tree, it will automatically, Laravel is smart enough to identify like the table and the column. So it will check the column name to identify the foreign key relationship. So make sure, like, okay, we give the exact table name. And so let's add the hierarchy information, which is we will need the parent informations for each members. So which is basically the father ID and the mother ID. Maybe we will use the same unsigned big integer. So it's father and mother and ID. Okay. And let's make let's make those things nullable, as we don't want to mandate all this information. So make it address nullable, date of birth, date of death, picture. We need family tree ID. It's a must. The father ID, mother ID. I think we will need those. But there is a chance, like, okay, in the top level, we might not know the father ID and the mother ID. So let's keep those as also nullable. Right. Yeah, let's keep those as well nullable. And I think that's good enough for a member table. So let's go for member relations. So again, we want here the spouse relations basically. In the member table, we kept the vertical hierarchy, that is the parent child. So in the member relations, we will be keeping the spouse relations. So let's go and add a member. Yeah, so it will be an unsigned big integer. So let it be a member ID, and we'll keep the term spouse ID. Fine. And these all required, like it might not be nullable things. So let's go for then the, I think that's done for that one. And let's user roles. Okay. Oh, it's actually, we don't need timestamp there. We already have it. Now, we will need, it's basically the permissions for each of the family trees. So we will keep a foreign ID for the family tree, same thing, the user role. And also we will need the one more foreign ID, which is the user ID actually. Okay, let's remove that. User ID, yeah. So it is very specific, like for each user, like what role that they have in each family tree. So let's keep a column for role, which is a string, and let it be a default length. I think that's good enough for our basic tables. Seems like we are almost done with the base tables that are required to start, and we will add more tables as we go. So let's migrate all these scripts so that, okay, it will create the tables. So in the PHP admin, like if you see, like there is no tables there. And so let's go back to Visual Studio Code and run the migrations. So let's open the terminal. and PHP artisan migrate. Okay, we got an error. It is specified key was too long. Okay. So in fact, this was an expected error. So let's see like how we can fix it. Let's go to providers, app service provider, and in that come down to boot. So there we just have to add this particular line, default string length, and we have to also add the schema class. So let's add that as well. Okay, so this will resolve that issue. And now it seems like okay, it has already started creating those tables. So we might need to delete those one. Like we just need to run the migration fresh. So let's run that again. PHP artisan migrate fresh. Yeah, it has been done successfully. Now let's check the PHP admin. So yeah, all the tables are created. Members, relations, user roles, all are created. So if you notice something like, see, it's the type is MyISAM. So, but we prefer InnoDB. So we might need to change that. So let's change that. So let's go to config. Where is that? Yeah, config, database. Let's come down. So there in the engine, it is provided as null. So we have to give InnoDB, and that would be good enough. So save it, and let's run again. Let's run the refresh again. By the way, like see, if you just run migrate, there is nothing to migrate because like okay, we haven't changed any migration script or added anything. So if you want to see the options for migrate, if you see down there, yeah, there. So these are all the options for the migrate. We have fresh, which actually drop all the tables and rerun all the migration. And if you just want to roll back the last migration, we can use the rollback. We mostly use these only, so we'll run fresh. And yeah, it has been done. So let's check. Yeah, so let's refresh. Yeah, okay, so it's InnoDB now. So we are done with setting up the Laravel environment. So let's work on backend authentication in the next session. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified when I upload it.